Hey guys, today's lesson is entitled Use Inequalities in a Triangle. You can see a triangle ABC given. You can see that the side lengths are also given. Which side is the longest side? You can see that AB is the longest side. So here's my next question. Which angle happens to be opposite that side? Which angle is opposite side AB? Angle C is opposite side AB. The point I want to make here first is that the longest side, which happens to be side AB, and the greatest angle of the triangle will be opposite each other. The longest side and the angle with the greatest measure will be opposite each other. It works vice versa. So let me ask you, which side is the smallest side or the shortest side? You can see that AC is the shortest side. Which angle is opposite side AC? The angle that's opposite side AC happens to be angle B. Since angle B is opposite the smallest side, angle B will be the smallest angle in the triangle. It will have the smallest angle measure in the triangle. So the shortest side and the smallest angle, or the angle with the smallest angle measure, will be opposite each other. So I can now make this statement here. I can say that the measure of angle B will be less than, because remember that's the smallest angle in the triangle, will be less than the measure of angle A, which will be less than the measure of angle C. Remember, I started off, or we concluded that angle C is the greatest angle because it's opposite the longest side. So just to confirm that you understood what was being said, if one side of a triangle is longer than another side, so in this case, we can see that side AB is longer than side BC, then the angle opposite the longer side, so the angle that's opposite the longer side, which happens to be angle C, is larger than the angle that is opposite the shorter side, which happens to be angle A. Do you see how angle A is opposite the shorter side, which has a side length of 4? So if AB, which was 10, is less than the length of BC, which was 4, then we can conclude that the measure of angle C, which is opposite the longer side, will be greater than the measure of angle A, because angle A is opposite the shorter side. The converse works as well. If one angle of a triangle is larger than another angle, let me pause right there. So you can see that angle F is greater than angle E, right? Let's pick up where we left off. Then the side opposite the larger angle is longer than the side opposite the smaller angle. So which side is opposite the greater angle? That's side EG. So I can now say the length of EG will be greater than, which side is opposite the smaller angle, the 38-degree angle? Side FG, right? So we can say that EG is greater than the length of FG. Because remember, FG is opposite the smaller angle. I'm going to move on to the triangle inequalities theorem. The triangle inequality theorem states that the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle has to be greater than the length of the third side. So let me just show you an example by assigning numbers here. Let's say side AB was, I don't know, let's say it's 10 units long. And let's say side BC is 4 units long. I'm telling you now, or this theorem here is stating that side AC, or the third side here, or actually the sum of sides A, B, and BC has to be greater than the length of the third side here, x. So basically, I'm telling you that, in other words, x has to be less than 14. Or you can think of it as AB plus BC has to be greater than the third side. Let me actually go on to this example here. Maybe that'll help you more. Here's a triangle that has one side length of 12 and another length of 8. Describe the possible lengths of the third side. So I'm going to draw a side length of a triangle here, a side that's about 12 units. And let's say another length of 8. The question is, what are some values of a triangle or that of the third side of this triangle here? I want you to think of, okay, so let's say if I were to redraw this triangle here, and let's say again this is 12, and let's say this is like 8. Do you guys see how I made this angle here, this initial angle, bigger, right, into more of an obtuse angle? And then the more and more I stretch it out, do you guys see how if this was 12 and this is 8, that a triangle just doesn't, it's not even formed anymore. It becomes just a straight line. So do you see how this third side right here has to end up actually being less than 20? Because if it can't equal 20. If it were 20, it would end up being a straight line. And then clearly it can't be greater than 20 because then a triangle can't be formed at all. So the third side has to be less than 20. But we're actually not done. What if I had a case here where, okay, so instead of taking the angle out this way, what if I brought the angle in more? So here's that side length of 12. And let's say I made it into like a small acute angle. Remember, this is 8. So what I did is this angle right here just became like smaller, like I brought it in. Do you see how this third side becomes smaller and smaller and smaller? Eventually, if I were to bring this in all the way, do you see how that 8 will line up with the 12? Let's say this 8 will line up with the 12, and it wouldn't exist. A triangle wouldn't exist. Again, you have like a linear case or a degenerate case. A triangle wouldn't exist. But you would have this little piece left over, which happens to be 4. So you know that for a triangle to be formed, that this third side right here has to be greater than 4. It has to be. It can't equal 4 because if it did, then a triangle's not formed. I just showed it to you right here. Do you see how it goes up to 8 here and there's 4 left over, right? And clearly it can't be even any less than 4. So we say that x has to be greater than 4 and x has to be less than 20. I can write this as one big inequality here. X has to be greater than 4, but it has to be less than 20. So in other words, I would add the 12 and the 8 up to get 20. And then I would get the difference of 12 and 8 to get 4. And I know that all the values that lie in between 4 and 20 will work. A triangle can be formed. That's it for today.